The Return of Soraya M. A Story of Revenge. Chapter 8. The Promise of Dawn. The morning sun cast a gentle glow over Kuhpayeh, illuminating the village's battered structures and rejuvenating the spirits of its returning inhabitants. For the first time in years, the air felt lighter, infused with the hope of healing and renewal. As the villagers gathered under the ancient sycamore tree, they carried with them the weight of their promises, vows to honor Soraya's memory and to rewrite the narrative that had long defined their community. In the days that followed Soraya's ascension, the villagers busied themselves with preparations for the annual commemoration of her life. They painted faded walls, repaired the crumbling façades of their homes, and gathered relics that spoke to their history: a tattered dress, a locket, stories etched in the very fabric of their lives. Each item was infused with the weight of remembrance, and the villagers understood that these were not just artifacts. They were symbols of hope, unity, and transformation. Among them was Amir, a young man whose ancestors had played a significant role in Soraya's tragic fate. Guilt gnawed at him, but it was a guilt that had transformed into a fierce determination. He rallied the villagers, encouraging them to share their stories and memories, not only of Soraya, but of the shared history of Kuhpayeh. His voice, once tremulous with fear, now rang with purpose as he called for transparency, for a collective reckoning with the past. "We cannot erase what has happened," he spoke passionately during one gathering, "but we can reshape our future. Let us not forget Soraya's pain, but instead allow it to guide us toward a better path. We owe her that much." As preparations progressed, a palpable energy filled the air, the kind that foreshadows change. The villagers worked side by side, their hands stained with paint and dirt, but their hearts lightened by a sense of camaraderie. Laughter began to weave through their interactions, a sound long silenced by sorrow and regret. One afternoon, as the villagers gathered to set up decorations for the upcoming memorial, an unexpected visitor arrived. It was an elderly woman named Halima, a figure from the village's past who had long been shunned for her connections to the events that led to Soraya's suffering. She approached the gathering with cautious steps, her silver hair glinting in the sun, her presence evoking a mixture of curiosity and suspicion. "May I join you?" Halima asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The villagers paused, exchanging glances laden with uncertainty. It was Amir who stepped forward, his heart heavy but resolute. "You're welcome here, Halima," he said, surprising even himself. "We're working to honor Soraya's memory." With a trembling smile, Halima joined them, her frail hands clutching a weathered book. "I have stories to share," she said, her voice quivering with emotion. "Stories of Soraya and the truth behind her sorrow. It's time we face the past together." As Halima began to speak, the villagers listened intently, her words weaving a tapestry of history that illuminated the complexities of their shared legacy. She recounted the events leading to Soraya's demise, the jealousy, the whispers, the betrayal, but she also shared stories of Soraya's kindness, her laughter, and the dreams she had held dear. Halima's eyes glistened with unshed tears as she recounted how she had known Soraya as a child, full of hope and light. "We all failed her," Halima lamented, "but it is not too late for us to make things right." The air grew thick with emotion, and as her tale unfolded, it became evident that Halima's remorse was genuine. The villagers felt the burden of the past lift slightly, replaced by an understanding that they were not just victims of their history, they were also its authors. As the sun dipped low on the horizon, casting a golden hue over Kuhpayeh, the villagers came together for their first memorial. They gathered around the sycamore tree, now adorned with flowers and tokens of remembrance. The atmosphere was charged with a mixture of solemnity and celebration, a fitting tribute to a life cut short but now eternally honored. Amir stepped forward, heart pounding in his chest. He had volunteered to share a few words, compelled by the weight of Soraya's story and the desire to ensure her memory lived on. "We gather here not only to remember Soraya, but to recognize the mistakes that led to her suffering," he began, his voice steady. "Today we stand united, determined to transform this village into a place of kindness, understanding, and love. Soraya's story will be told, and her legacy will guide us toward a better future." As he spoke, the villagers hung on his every word, their hearts swelling with hope. Each shared story, each tear shed became a thread in the fabric of their new beginning, a commitment to honor Soraya by embodying the very values she had been denied. That night, as they lit candles in Soraya's memory, the glow illuminated the faces of the villagers, reflecting their resolve. They promised to return every year to ensure her story was passed down, so that future generations would know her name and understand the cost of betrayal. As the candles flickered, dancing in the gentle breeze, a sense of peace enveloped the village. Soraya's spirit, now free from the chains of vengeance, lingered in the soft glow, watching over them with a warmth that transcended the darkness of her past. And so, under the expansive sky, the village of Kuhpayeh began to heal. United by their shared promise, they embarked on a new chapter, one filled with hope, love, and the understanding that the echoes of the past could illuminate the path to a brighter future.